All right, everyone. It looks like it's officially 1:01 p.m. So thank you so much for joining us here today. Looks like we have a few people continuing to log on here, but grateful for you carving out a little time to learn a little bit about this year here at the Crane Trust. We do have, and I believe that the Q&A as well as the chat feature are both enabled on this Zoom presentation. So you're welcome to pipe any questions or chat notes into both of those features, and we'll try to pay attention to those and get your questions answered as soon as we can. Additionally, we will be recording this webinar and posting it so that folks can have a chance to review this even if they were unable to join us for the live session today. Bryce, I will go ahead and turn this meeting over to you.
Well, thank you, Matt. And I just want to thank everybody for taking time to be on this call today. What a remarkable year it's been. I mean, it's always easier to reflect upon than anticipate the year. But what a marvelous year it's been. And it's truly, I am filled with great gratitude for all of you, our supporters, our friends, our volunteers, our team. Some of them here on the this clip is we'll be talking throughout the day. And talking about some of the highlights and the fun we had throughout the year. Looking forward to all that, and I won't spoil anybody's thunder with that. Matt has graciously provided a video from Cranes Sandhill Crane specifically on the river this morning. So this is via our live stream camera that's embedded in our membership link. And this was from 11 o'clock Central Standard Time this morning. What a remarkable opportunity to have 28,000 plus cranes here. We can get into the details. Is it overwintering? Well, they're here. It's a mild winter thus far and plenty of suitable habitat and uh, lots of food sources still out there as the ground is not froze yet. So we anticipate they'll be here until a more harsh reality of winter sets in here in the prairies. So I'll step back and let you um, listen to the sounds of the cranes for a few seconds. Again, we can't do our work without you, and it's just amazing the amount of support, the continue of growth that's focused on the Crane Trust in Central Platte River Valley, Nebraska. So again, I can't say thank you enough after we reflect on this year and I look forward to the upcoming 26. We can't do this without our oversight. We have a fabulous board, um, a lot of experience, and a lot of passion in our mission. Shelley Sailing-Zart, Craig Thompson, Brad Carell, as you can see on the screen in their respective positions. Shelley grew up just miles away, and she was just here over the weekend. And it's always wonderful to catch up and have their oversight as we move our mission forward. I do want to give a, special recognition. Many of you know that we lost a giant in conservation, that with the passing of Dr. Jane Goodall. Jane was a great friend of the Crane Trust and of Crane Conservation, along with being a world-renowned primatologist and a messenger of peace. Just a few special regards to Dr. Jane. It was a wonderful opportunity that I had to go to Washington, D.C. and to celebrate her life with friends from around the world. Um, she came every year. She enjoyed the cranes. This photo of Tom Mangelson really showed the passion that Jane had and the love of cranes. So we will look forward to celebrating her life going forward. And she is with us as we do our conservation every day, focused on sandhill cranes in the prairie. Little note here, just a remembrance of what our mission is. Crane Trust protects Platte River habitat for migrating cranes. And again, you never know what you're going to see on the prairie here. This photo was actually taken earlier this fall while the northern lights were present. So we have sandhill cranes with the reflection of northern lights. It's always a remarkable place. While I've been lived in the area nearly my entire life, that was new to me. So you just never know what's going to happen next. Matt, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Bryce. So again, thank you to so many people who make a difference for the Crane Trust. And so I have the great fortune in my work to work with lots of our members and donors and supporters. And so this year, we've had over 2,000 and counting donors and members support the work of the Crane Trust. And so your support supports our land acquisition and land management work, supports our outreach and education efforts, as well as our science and research team. Additionally, we've had some nice support of our bison herd, and then, basic operational needs. And so we really cannot do our work without the support of our members and donors supporting each and every part of our organization. And so we really are just so grateful for all the many people who have supported us. We've also been really fortunate this year to receive some nice grants, and we're honored to continue to honor individuals through memorials as well. And so grateful for family members and individuals who want to remember their legacy through the Crane Trust. And so happy to recognize folks and their dedication to the Central Platte River Valley any way that is of interest to them. So, Abe, I'll turn over the microphone over to you so you can talk a little bit more about cranes and the migration this year.
Sounds good. Thank you, Matt. Yep. Hi, I'm Abraham Cans. I'm the Director of Conservation Research here at the Crane Trust. And yeah, as Matt said, I'm going to take over right now, talk to you a bit about the migration, and then move into some updates on our science program. So the first thing I want to talk about here is just kind of looking at the trends. You can see on the left side that line graph of the sandhill crane migration through the area for the past couple of years. And I wanted to point out some really cool sort of patterns we saw this last year. So you can see from week 3 to week 4, we saw a huge increase in the number of cranes present. So week 3 was 50,000, whereas week 4 was about 583,000. So like more than 10 times the number of cranes just showed up in that week. So we saw a huge rush of cranes, I guess, come back through this last spring. We also this year had our highest crane count ever at 735,600 cranes. And so that happened during week 5. And then we see that typical tapering off of week, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So one of the, like I said, it's really interesting to note that we saw such a high density of cranes, I guess, during the weeks 4 to 8 sort of period. And that often has a lot to do with just climate, temperature, weather conditions, habitat conditions, things like that can drive their migratory patterns. And so something we continue to monitor, and I look forward to seeing what kind of patterns we have this year. Other things to note is that we had cranes beginning to move into the area. In October, we had about 28,000 cranes here on the river right in front of the Crane Trust over Thanksgiving. And then as of last week, we had 31,000 cranes, sandhill cranes, still here. This number is greater than we've had last year. I believe that last year we had about 20,000 was the estimate. And it's a trend we've seen increasing over the past couple of years of just more and more cranes kind of spending the fall and even portions of the winter or the entire winter here. And so that's something that we're monitoring and honestly would like to study probably at some point in the future and see, is it just climate conditions keeping them here? Is it the quality of the habitat is good enough? They don't need to go further south. Things like that. So definitely something we'll keep an eye on, and I'm excited to see how long these cranes stick around on the Platte. I wanted to give you a quick update on the whooping crane sightings we've had this year. So from spring, the official report has come out with 89 whooping cranes using the Platte River in the sort of central Platte River Valley area during the spring migration. And then this fall, I have a number of sightings, so 74 sightings in the database. But Fish and Wildlife Service, as well as some other conservation organizations, are still working to cross-reference numbers and determine any redundancy or inaccuracy in terms of reporting. So I have a number of sightings, but those sightings could range anywhere from a single whooping crane up to like a group of 12. But sometimes people report the same group of cranes or the same cranes were seen on multiple days. And so they need to go back through and figure out, okay, were these the same cranes, especially if they don't have trackers on them. And then determine how many actually were in the area. So that number we'll have probably at some point early this next year. The next thing I wanted to give you an update on was the Sandhill Crane Tracking Project. So many of you members already know that we have, we began this project this spring. We were able to place five trackers on sandhill cranes. Now, the objective of the study was to put out trackers and determine things like foraging distance from the river, as well as the breeding behavior of sandhill cranes that come through the area. So, as I said, this last spring we had help from International Crane Foundation, as well as a retired USGS employee, to place crane trackers, and you can see them pictured on the right there. And you can see one where it sits on the leg of the crane is also pictured there. And we were able to get five out this spring. This next spring, spring 2026, we are going to continue this project and plan to place at least 15 more trackers on cranes. And one thing I wanted to point out and give a shout out to is that this project is completely donor funded. So a big thank you to all of those that were able to donate through this project. This is really cool that we're able to fund science with just the help of our donors and our members and whatnot. And so a big thank you to them. All this inform oh yes, and we're still seeking support for 2026 for this project as well. So if you would like to support Crane Trust Science further and help us kind of track these cranes more and figure out exactly what's going on with them and their migratory patterns, please reach out, send in a donation, anything like that. Right here, just some pictures of us in the field actually doing this sampling. So on the left side, you'll see I'm there on the stool holding the crane actually, kind of carrying them like a football, honestly, with their legs over the back. And legs are over the back so that Dave Brandt, so far left in the photo, is able to place the tracker as well as take a blood sample. And then Emma, she's in the center, in the back of the photo. She's kind of passing out equipment, writing down notes, all that kind of stuff, making sure we stay organized. And that's kind of how we'll quote unquote process a crane that we've captured is hold them real quick, try to make it as quick and painless as possible, and work them up like that. On the right side, you'll see them placing some of the leg snares. So the last thing in terms of the tracking project I wanted to talk about was the GPS information we have actually. So this is the information we have collected on these cranes up to this point. It's kind of crazy that we just got five random cranes and we were able to get cranes from such a wide variety of nesting grounds. So you'll see that we have, cranes that nested all throughout Canada, and then even one that went all the way over to Siberia. Um, and those cranes have now, of course, made their return journey back, and we have three currently in Texas, and one in New Mexico, and then one in Kansas. So the red line ends in New Mexico, purple, yellow, and blue are in Texas, and green is the Kansas one. Some interesting patterns, real quick, about those is that the blue one you can see actually that line goes all the way down to kind of the coast of Texas and then jumps back to the middle of Texas. We're not sure why that individual did that, but it's interesting to note. The light green individual spent some time at the Salt Plains in Oklahoma, but then decided that it wasn't to their liking and left after a little bit. And then the one in red, the one that made the trip to Siberia, is really interesting because on its way back, it's kind of hugged the Rocky Mountains a bit more. And so it actually didn't pass through, it passed through just the panhandle of Nebraska, not the center. So I'm interested to see if that individual comes back up through the center of Nebraska, or if its migratory route has shifted a tiny bit to have it just not go through the center anymore. Maybe it's taking kind of a new path. So that'll be really cool to see this upcoming spring. All right, the next thing I wanted to move on to is published research. So the Crane Trust, of course, we work hard on our science team to make this research available for other organizations or even for the public. You can find our research articles linked through our website. Crane Trust was able to publish 9 articles this year, including things like an updated annotated checklist of mammals on the Crane Trust. And so that is literally a list of all of the mammal species that have ever been recorded in this area and discussing them and what's happened to those populations. And then some other more experimental ones like restoring exotic cool season grass dominated landscapes with clethodim and glyphosate, which are 2 kinds of herbicides. On top of those publications, we have 2 currently in review. I don't think they'll get through review before the end of the year, so those will be early 2026 publications. But really cool that we still have, them, we're still churning out publications. And then we have 2 publications currently in the works led by our fellows, actually. So a publication focused on Southern Plains bumblebee habitat, and then another focused on Plains top minnow habitat. So really excited to see our research fellows getting in on the publication process. Finally, I wanted to give you an update on our long-term monitoring program. So our long-term monitoring program is what we call sort of the grouping of all the surveys that we do on the Crane Trust property yearly. So this includes surveys of the birds, of the plants, of the mammals here, of even fish and bumblebees. Those all are our long-term monitoring data. And we've been collecting this data for over a decade now. So we have 11 field seasons of this current long-term monitoring setup. And that has allowed us to really, document well the quality of habitat that we have out there and then how species are doing on our property. And you can see here just a really cool breakdown of all the different species we found. 1,162 unique species that we've documented on Crane Trust properties out of just our plants, birds, mammals, different insects, and then our reptiles and some of our fish. So really cool to see that we, can keep such good track of everything happening on our properties. On the right side, real quick, I'll point out that you can see a picture of Emma, our Lila O. Wilson Biological Monitoring Fellow. She's in blue, holding the camera there, taking a photo of a bumblebee. And then Will on the left, he's our Saunders Conservation Fellow. And he is documenting all the information Emma gives him and writing down different things like the environmental conditions. So just we're happy to have, our monitoring fellowships. They're a great asset to us throughout the year. And they are also funded, their positions are funded by donors. So another thing we're thankful to the donors for. All right. That is it for my section. So I'll go ahead and pass things over to Tim.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Smith. I'm the Director of Land Management here at the Trust. I've been here for, let's see, a little over 10 years now, 11 years going on 12. So it's been a great year for us. We've gotten a lot done. But we get the question all the time of what do you do for the rest of the year when the cranes aren't here? Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit here. For one example, we try to do a little burning throughout the year. This past year, we burned 200 acres on 4 different parcels. The reason for burning, we do a lot to set back woody encroachment, recycle nutrients, and set back some of those cool season exotics. The prairie evolved in a grazing fire regime. So now in modern times, we try to keep that up the best as we can. As you know, in modern times, fire is often suppressed And so the fire's not getting to a lot of areas that could still use it. And it requires us to do the burning ourselves to uh, create the conditions that we need for setting back the woody species that are less fire intolerant that would have been removed from the landscape historically. Some of the other work we do a lot of disking. Of course, similarly, in modern times, the hydrology of the river has changed quite a bit due to dams and climate conditions that we see now. So it requires us to actually get in the river channel with tractors and discs to till up the vegetation that is growing that normally would have been scoured by periodic floods historically. So since we don't see those and intense floods and to include a reduction in the flooding period, so we get a lot of overgrowth. So that requires us to uh, get on those sandbars. We try to uproot the vegetation, whether it's annual vegetation or woody vegetation that has encroached on some of those islands, and free them up so we can keep the sediment moving and the river functioning like it should. It also creates great habitat, roosting habitat, foraging habitat for sandhill cranes. So they like those areas once they've been cleaned off. They can see better. They feel more comfortable roosting in those areas, and there's a little bit more protection from predators. Um, we were able. Oh, can you go back one? Yeah, I just wanted to mention that, within that river, we were able to cover 350 acres of sandbars over 16 and a half miles, not just on the Crane Trust, but on neighbors and other conservation partners that were wanting the work done as well. So, okay, go ahead, Matt. Yeah. So we also did a lot of tree clearing. So as as time goes on some of these areas where we're not able to get the burning done in a timely manner, sometimes those trees and woody species get a little bit too far to handle with fire. So it requires us to use mechanical means to clear the areas, which is also gets a little bit more expensive than the burning. So as you can see here, we're using our new Clearway 500 to do some tree removal, and we can get those larger trees with this machine and also a skid steer. It mulches them up right to the ground. It mulches them up into pieces that are more quickly biodegradable and I guess what could say melt into the landscape a little quicker. Uh, and we've been able to do a lot of this work with the partnership of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. The Nebraska Game and Parks is another great partner. Ducks Unlimited has been very helpful in funding from donors like you. So it's very much appreciated, and uh, we continue to keep doing the work. So a little bit of an update on our bison herd. We have 162 animals right now, which includes 18 bulls, 59 cows and heifers, and 41 calves that we had this year. Um, we're in the process of selling some of those animals, and 44 will be moving on here before the end of the year to new conservation herds. We started out this project in 2013 um, with the addition of four animals from Nebraska bison that were loaned to us, and that was little bit of an experiment to see if we could handle the animals and kind of get our feet wet to see what it would be like. That we grew that from 4 to 12 animals, and in 2015 we purchased uh, 41 animals from TR&K Hughes off the Rimrock Ranch, and that began our uh, program with the bison. So since then, we've added animals from many different herds, including Rocky Mountain Arsenal, Teddy Roosevelt National Park, Laramie Foothills in Colorado, Texas State Park, just to name a few. And we continue to do a lot of work with genetics, and that program's going great and look to expand in the future. So one of our highlights that we want to include this year is some of the work that we've done on our Southside Vision. On this map, you can see some of the areas highlighted in yellow that are currently protected easements, with our property highlighted in orange. Um, And then there's an area there of green that was previously shaded red that we have just wrapped up the purchase of that property. Uh, Matt, you want to go ahead and go to the next slide and we'll talk about that a little bit. So there was 477 acres of wet meadow and some cropland that we'll be able to restore to wet meadow. Uh, it was very much a surprise to us. We did not know that this was coming, but one of our dear friends, Van Walbach, approached us in March of this last year and asked us if we would be interested in purchasing this property from him. He loves what we're doing at the Crane Trust, has been a great friend, continues to work with us, and this was just an excellent addition to our property. You can kind of see on the right hand side of the river channel there, that is our current Mormon Island that we own, and all the property on the left hand side is the addition that will be adding on to our current existing uh, property. So we're very excited about that addition, and it will open up new doors for us for sure. But we want to thank Van and his family for entrusting us with the care of that property that has been in their family for over 100 years. So I'm going to turn it over to Megan.
Thanks, Tim.
Mhm.
I'm Megan Launchpaw, the Assistant Director at the Nature and Visitor Center. I started with Crane Trust last January, February. And so this has been a really great first year and kind of my introduction to all the things, which has been amazing. So from the Nature and Visitor Center this last year, we had approximately 35,000 visitors throughout the year. Over 23,000 of those were in March alone. And that represents guests from 48 different states and 19 different countries. In this last March, we had over 2,500 people participate in crane viewing tour, one of our blind tours or bridge tours or driving tours, which was awesome. And we also had volunteers. We had over 50 volunteers work over 2,700 hours, which is just amazing. So it's been a good year so far. On the inside, the Crimson Crown gift shop continues to have some awesome feedback from people who stopped by. It's been delightful to kind of learn the runnings of that from Sally, who is still doing amazing, running circles around me. But we've updated a few things in the space inside. So our kind of bird viewing nook in the gift shop and some of the just display materials have been updated, so we've got a fresh look on some stuff. We also have our Hornady Art Gallery has new art, and we have some new artists that we're really excited about for this year. So continuing to just bring in awesome things that support and represent our mission, which has been really fun. And we're also, along the gift shop lines, we're growing our online gift shop presence and have had a really great response to that. I've been tracking our number of orders every month, and it's kind of hitting a tipping point where we're working on keeping up with stuff, which has been so fun to see, especially for the holidays. So we have over 100 items available online now as well, and Lola has been doing amazing, getting stuff shipped out in a timely manner and in amazing packaging and adding new things all the time. So we're really excited to keep growing our online gift shop this year so that people can have access to some of the awesome stuff that we have no matter where they are. And along those lines, this is my plug. If you haven't had a chance to get a gift purchased yet, or are still looking for the thing for that person who's really hard to buy for, a new addition to our website this year that I'm really excited about is making the process of gifting tours to people so much easier. So if you visit our website, cranetrust.org, there's a holiday gift guide kind of right in a banner there, and it takes you to a page where you can gift a membership or a blind tour or a driving tour, and it makes the process really, really easy. So make sure you check that out. And then moving on to the education and outreach stuff, which has been some of my favorite memories from this year. So we had over 1,000 people participate in our 11 family events that ran from March through November. That was kind of my goal this year, just getting in the door and getting acquainted with the lay of the land. I wanted to make sure that we were getting as many opportunities to get kids out playing in the river or catching butterflies or seeing the bison as we could. And so I feel really excited about the progress of those events over the course of the year. We could really see that word was starting to spread and people were figuring out that there were fun things happening. And so yeah, by the time we got to the end of the year, we were working with a lot more people coming to events than we were at the beginning. It was great to see. Field trips as well were really fun this year. We had over 800 participants in field trips. So being able to have groups of kids out here learning about the river valley and the prairie and things like that is one of my personal favorite things. So that's been really fun as well. And then just some of our highlights of all those events. The Bison Bash was our outdoor concert series that we did in conjunction with Pollinator Festival this year. And even though it was like, I think we were in like a extreme heat warning that weekend, but somehow it all just turned out so magical. And we had some great artists out in a food truck and people came and so that was a delightful. We were really excited to premiere that event and are looking forward to doing that again in the future. The Halloween Trail has been a legacy event at the Crane Trust that I was told about when I first started here. And so we were so excited to bring that back this year and feel like it was a huge success. We had so much fun doing it. I get what all the hype is about now. So that was a blast. And then we just recently had our holiday open house. We had some of our local authors here reading books and some of our artists around displaying their art, and then tons of kid crafts and a visit from Santa and Mrs. Claus. And it was all just so much fun. So. And then, yes, obviously in March, for sure, the number of volunteers that we have and the number of volunteer hours kind of speaks for itself, that we really just could not do this without our volunteers. But throughout the whole year, that is definitely a theme. There were so many of those other events and family events in the Halloween walk and the open house. All just relied so heavily on volunteers and staff. And that has been one of the things that I have learned this year is just really teamwork makes the dream work. And we really have an awesome team here in our volunteers and our staff. And it's just been such a pleasure to be a part of it this year. So I'm so thankful for all of you.
All
That's all from
right.
me.
Thanks, Megan. Appreciate all your good work. And wow, I was thinking back to that Bison Bash event. It was like 112 degrees that
Yeah.
day. So it's different here today. I think it's only 60 here in central Nebraska, but great to see so many people who are willing to stick through it and still participate and attend our great event. So kudos to you and all of your good work this year. So thanks, Megan. A few other notes here, just wanted to mention. We were really fortunate to kind of like take our little show on the road, and so grateful to meet and talk with so many friends and supporters and craniacs all across the country. So we had a wonderful event in Omaha, Kansas City. We were just in Denver last week or the week before, in LA and up in Steamboat for the Yampa Valley Crane Festival. And so it is so great to be able to represent Central Nebraska and the Crane Trust and the wonder of the sandhill crane and whooping crane migration with so many friends across the country. So if you stop by to see us, thank you. Also, if you have an interest in having a Crane Trust program at one of your events, reach out. Let me know. It might be a fun opportunity for us to make some connections in a new place. Also, speaking of connections, so easy for folks to stay connected and up to date with the happenings of the Crane Trust. So I just pulled a couple of screenshots here of recent social media posts. And so on Facebook, we have 16,000 followers. Isn't that crazy? Our social media team just does such a great job, kind of led by Matt Urbanski, of kind of sharing all of the work that goes in to the Crane Trust throughout the year. So if you've not followed us either on Facebook or Instagram, please do so. We also have a very active YouTube account, also available for kind of updates on LinkedIn as well. So lots of great ways for you to stay connected to all of the things that are happening at the Crane Trust. Speaking of staying connected, our virtual programs, these are just a few notes from just spring. So from February 22nd through March 31st of 2025, there were over 5,000 hours of virtual content that was watched. So that's 12,000 individual views and 18,000 impressions. And so grateful for all of the members who tune in for our guided virtual programs in March. Those are primarily always led by Kylie Warren, who does such a great job. And again, you can watch the wonder of the sandhill crane migration from wherever you are. And so great to expand the reach of the Crane Trust mission through our virtual programs. And you can see that as a screenshot there on the screen here of a whole bunch of sandhill cranes that were here on December 6th. So amazing to see sandhill cranes throughout the year. Kylie and team does host a variety of virtual programs throughout the year. So you can see kind of a crane season recap. We did a live prairie chicken lek tours, bison tours over the summer, long-term monitoring, field surveys, and then fall migration reports. So again, lots of great content throughout the year, not just in March. And again, a big thank you to Kylie for hosting and producing the vast majority of our virtual programs. So you may be thinking, how can I come see the cranes this year in 2026 with the Crane Trust? Well, you better get busy here, folks. So we have been booking crane season tours for a while now. So our overnight VIP program, where you stay on site with us in our cottages and suites, we provide all meals and tours are led by our scientists and staff, is about 85% booked. So those VIP viewing experience tours are currently restricted only to Crane Trust members. So if you're a Crane Trust member, hop on. You can actually just log on to our system and see what days are left and just book a tour. If you have any questions about those tours, you can certainly reach out to myself or Sandy Douglas, who does a lot of the bookings for those tours. So great to see another great group coming in for those tours. Our public tours, so our two viewing blinds, footbridge tours, and daytime driving tours. This year we did open those tours up earlier, and wow, we have seen over 800 tickets already booked for those tours. So great to see strong demand in those tours. And then photo experiences offered by Cheryl Opperman, photo workshop and photo tours available. So certainly do pop on to our website. You can book those. The public tours and photo experiences are open to the general public, so you can book those just at cranetrust.org. Breaking news alert here, friends. We are so happy to be able to share with you that because of two wonderful gifts from the Margaret A. Lindbergh Foundation and the John and Jane Ellsworth Family Foundation, we now have electric heat in our public viewing blinds. And so if you have been out to our public viewing blinds in the past, those blind tours did not have heat. And so we are so grateful for the support from both Margaret A. Lindbergh Foundation and the John and Jane Ellsworth Family Foundation that allowed us over the summer to do a lot of work to bury electric power lines out to those blinds and then install baseboard heat out in those blinds as well. So what a great addition to our viewing experiences. And we hope probably for a cold March, so you can experience the heat, and so should make viewing really wonderful out there. You may be thinking here, after all of this great information and all of these great updates, how can I help the Crane Trust? I know that it is now December 22nd, and so the days are ticking by for 2025. And so, but there is still time for you to make a gift. So you can make a gift online at cranetrust.org/support. So all of those donations, you can support our education and outreach, science and research, or land management work specifically, or you can just support the Greatest Needs, our general operating fund as well. You can become a Crane Trust member, so that's also available on our website, and exclusive access into our membership portal where we run all of our virtual programs. And as Abe mentioned, you can get on and take a look at that GPS transmitter map. And so you can watch the migration of our GPS banded sandhill cranes throughout the year, which is kind of fun. And so we do try to, about every other month, send out a newsletter called our Prairie Pulse. So we hope you stay connected through that and read all of the great updates about the Crane Trust. So again, we are so fortunate to have so many wonderful friends, donors, and supporters who help us throughout the year, and we truly are grateful. As Bryce comes back on here, I'll just mention, and I'll leave this slide up here. If you have any questions for any of us here today, our contact information is on this slide here. So email and cell phone numbers, you're welcome to reach out to us at any time. But we appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to learn about a few updates regarding the Crane Trust. So Bryce, anything further?
I do have a lot to tell, but I'm going to keep it to a couple minutes for everybody's sanity. But I want to thank you all again. While we know our work doesn't have a finish line, we do know all of our work is extremely important and invaluable to the Central Platte River Valleys, Nebraska's critical habitat for migrating cranes and other wildlife. And it's absolutely because of all the work that was discussed here today and all of you. So I can't thank you all enough. And a little side note, Matt Urbanski, our media specialist, if you will, asked, I'm going to get a little secret to the future here, but he wants to create a post on what was your most favorite thing in 2025. And I have several. So I reflect back on the opportunity to celebrate Jane Goodall's life with our friends and Jane Goodall Institute. That rises to the top. You have this opportunity with Ducks Unlimited and the Wetland America Trust Board to highlight our partnerships by attaining the 477 acres that Tim discussed today. And as I spoke with some of our donors and friends, and Doug Fry and I were reflecting on this, I don't think anybody realizes how important that acquisition will be in the future. So only time will tell the importance as we continue to protect habitat for migrating species. So a big thank you, Fraser Stryker, working on behalf of the Crane Trust, Rob Clapper, working on the behalf of Ducks Unlimited, and Ducks Unlimited, Terry Kosinick, and John Denton as well, really pulling this together. The Wallback family came to us, and within a few months, we kicked off a party with a purpose with Gary and Cassandra Petrock to initiate a fundraising goal, and that was our intent. And what a great reception, a great time with friends, and working with Ducks Unlimited's friends and Crane Trust. We wrapped it up within 9 months. So to be able to work through that process, that is a wonderful highlight of mine, and it's just amazing, all the teamwork, everybody, from a safety perspective to friendship to collaborative efforts of everyone. Partnerships are great, and the Crane Trust is a special place. So thank you all. I feel blessed to have the opportunity to have oversight of this wonderful team, and happy holidays.
Thanks, Bryce. We'll leave this slide up for a couple more minutes, but thanks again, everyone, for tuning in today. We really appreciate it.